Wyatt Sykes from Sweet Georgia Sports here, and I honestly really don't want to make this video because of it's just so much uncertainty within the Atlanta Hawks organization. It makes me kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. I ask myself this question a lot. What are the Atlanta Hawks doing? Nobody seems to know the answer. I mean, you got to think that the organization itself and the owners and everybody involved in the office and everything know a plan and know what they're doing, but it's very, very unclear to the fans and everyone else around the league. Even other teams around the league don't know what the Hawks are doing. If you look at the team right now, I feel like there's only one certainty on the entire team, is the fact that Dennis Schroeder is going to be the starting point guard for the next maybe 10 years. I feel like he's going to be here for a very long time. And I feel like that will be the only thing that won't change in the next few years. Then you've got everyone else on the entire team. As of recent, it looks like Paul Millsap will be signing a multi-year deal to stay with us for the rest of his career, most likely, which is a very strange move considering his age. He's getting older now. He's still a very productive player, and honestly, personally, one of my favorite Hawks players ever put on a jersey. But he's going to decline from here. Nobody can escape Father Time. Well, let's be honest. And the Hawks seem to be very, very committed to giving him a lot of money over the next few years for him to ride off into the sunset eventually. That being said, the Hawks must believe that they can win with Paul Millsap still around. Or why would they do it? Because it doesn't make sense if they don't think they can win. I have an argument with a lot of the people in Sweet Georgia Sports a lot of the times that I always trust the organization because they're doing something. They already have a plan. But I've never seen one so unclear and very strange, honestly. It's just a very strange thing that there's so many different things that can happen here. I mean, next year you could see the Hawks be a former shell of itself. This year you might see everyone go. You can even see Dwight go. And I know we just got him as a recently acquired player in free agency. But a lot of things can change here just over the next really year heading into free agency as well. We'll see what the Hawks do. I honestly couldn't tell you what we're going to do, but I do have some maybe guesses on things. Like I said earlier, Dennis Schroeder is going to be here, I think, for the long run. I think he'll be here for a good while. I don't see him going anywhere. I think he's the only true staple of a player here in Atlanta. I do believe that we'll see Tim Hardaway Jr. stay around for a while as well, depending on if he wants to or not. I think he will because he's starting to set into the system and become a great player for the Atlanta Hawks and has an extreme faith in his jump shot like he's never had before. And he's a fun player to watch, and I think he'll be a really good shooting guard over the years to come, and he'll definitely be in the starting five for a while. Then you've got people like Paul Millsap. I don't know what's going to happen with Paul Millsap. I don't know if he's going to sign back with the Hawks. I believe that's what he's leaning to now to finish out his career in Atlanta. I think that's what the Hawks are going to do since they didn't trade him before the trade deadline, and then him denying his player option or whatever it is to come back and sign a full deal with us and make $207 million. And I think that's what he's going to do there. I believe the Hawks will do that as well. Then you got players like Kent Bazemore, and Dwight Howard, and Thabo Sefolosha, and just a lot of players that you have no idea what's going to really happen with them. I believe Dwight can be a very valuable player sometimes, but I'm just not set on his offensive side of the game. He is very streaky a lot of the times, not really a great post player at all, but his defense is at an all-star level, and I'd like to see him probably stay in a Hawks uniform, but for the right deal, I guess, or the right players around him, if that makes sense. You got to look at what we've got right now. There's a lot of young players on this team, Taurean Prince, DeAndre Bembry, and such. Bembry and Prince go up and down the D-Leagues, though, but Prince is definitely showing some great strides as of late. And then from Tim Hardaway, still a young guy. Dennis Schroeder, very young player, and still have a lot of experience already. So I truly believe Dennis Schroeder will be a really great player for the Atlanta Hawks one day. But, like I said, you got to get the right people around him, and that's what I'm worried about. I don't know exactly what the Hawks are going to do coming up this free agency period. I don't know who they're going to re-sign. I don't know. I mean, it's such just the plan, you can't see it. You can see a plan with the 76ers. You can see a plan with the Lakers, whether it'll work or not with the Lakers, who knows. But you can still see what they're trying to do. And you can still see a plan with teams that are competing right now with the Celtics and everybody else. You see what they're trying to do. But the Hawks, are we tanking? Are we building? Are we just sitting in the middle of the water doing nothing? I mean, nobody really knows. And we really won't know, I think, until the Paul Millsap signing this offseason, which I believe will happen. That, to me, believes that we're still trying to be competitive, but Paul Millsap just isn't enough. We both know that Paul Millsap's not going to get it done in Atlanta. He's still a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's not going to get the Hawks over the hump and not going to get you to the Eastern Conference Finals and not going to get you to the finals, to say the least. I mean, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but we need more. And to do that, you got to let players like this go, I believe, to kind of set everything up and going in the right direction. I mean, really high lottery picks, anything up there in the draft. I mean, it's going to be an interesting offseason, no doubt about it. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what this Atlanta Hawks team's trying to do. There are several things that they can do. They can take really any path they want to right now. I believe if they were to try to take the competitive pathway, that they're just quite not good enough for that yet. And I hate to see them do that because I don't want to be stuck in mediocrity forever. Now, if they tank, there's very few players that would stay around. I think you'd see Dennis Schroeder be one of those few players. I believe Tim Hardaway would come back because I think he's becoming a valuable player for the Atlanta Hawks. And that, honestly, could be it. I mean, we might not see anyone else really stick around over these next few years if that's the road we decide to take. And then also, just floating right where we are, that's not what we're going to try to do. I don't want to see that anymore. We've seen what the team was capable of a few years ago, but that team's gone. They're not here anymore. Kyle Korver's gone. It's just a different team. The Junkyard Dog's gone. They're all gone. So we're going to have to, come back here. I mean, see what Al Horford's doing up with the Celtics. They had a great plan, and they executed it perfectly. Partly because the Nets are really, really ignorant for making that trade involving all the picks for old 35-year-old players. But I feel like that's the route that the Hawks should have taken, maybe. Not the net side. Nobody in God's green earth should ever take the net side again. But to dump off maybe Dwight Howard, Paul Millsap, and people like that, older players that are still pretty good for draft picks, I think would be the way to go. I don't see us being competitive with those players being our main key pieces to the team. I think there might need to be a rebuild. Now, for a while, I didn't. I was very optimistic with this team at the beginning of the year, and I still was a few weeks ago. But now things aren't going so great, and it just doesn't seem like they'll be able to compete with any team in the NBA moving forward, especially over these past 2 weeks or so when Paul Millsap's out and the team is, to put it straight up, absolutely garbage. I mean, they just don't function correctly. And then, there's the argument for keeping Paul Millsap because it'll make everybody better. But that better is still not good enough, folks. And I think the Hawks are almost in time for tank time. I think it's about to happen. I wish we could have got a pick this year because this NBA draft is absolutely loaded with talent. From 1 to 10, I think there's a lot of players that could help out teams in the NBA, which is really cool because you don't see that anymore. A lot of the times it's just the top 5 picks or so, maybe even top 3. But that being said, sadly, we won't be able to get one of those picks unless something wild happens in the offseason or during the draft. Who knows? But I believe the Atlanta Hawks need to head that direction for the next 2 years or so and see what we can build up again. Because I think the team we built originally, Jeff Teague, Al Horford, and all those boys, they were built to last, but only built for 2 or 3 years, if that makes sense. Like, they were supposed to be around for that long. They weren't supposed to be competitive for over 6 years or anything like that. They were supposed to be very competitive for around 2 to 3 years, and we did make it work. But now that it's over, it's kind of a mumbled mess of a team. That the Teague gone and Al Horford's gone. It's just a lot of pieces that don't fit quite right in the puzzle, and I think it's time to maybe hit the reset button. Well, without a few players. I want to keep Schroeder around because I believe he will develop into a fantastic player. And also Tim Hardaway Jr., who's made some amazing strides this season as well. And that being said, that's really all I got to ask about the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, I just don't know what they're doing. And maybe we'll know soon. Who knows? But anyways, this has been Wyatt Sykes from Sweet Georgia Sports. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys later.